Welcome to the Balancing Busy podcast. I'm so excited that you are here listening to this episode. Today, I have Camille Walker, and we are having a discussion. It's so good. I just finished it, and now I'm recording this intro. And you're going to jump into this conversation where we're talking about, we're all about balancing busy. We're all about just feeling better in all the areas. But let's be real. The hardest time to feel better is when we're in a funk, is when things aren't going great, is when there's something that we're going through that's hard, because it's one thing to do all those things, drink your water, get your exercise, get the right amount of sleep, be productive in your business, have dinner on the table, do the laundry, when there's like a pep in your step, when you're feeling good. It is completely another thing when things are hard. So Camille and I have a conversation about what do we do? How do we balance the busy when everything is not going our way or is not going according to plan? And we talk about some of the things that help each of us and some of the areas where it has been hard for us. So I'm so excited for you to jump into this episode. Camille is a certified family science teacher, blogger, podcast host, and entrepreneur. She is the founder of mymommystyle.com, a lifestyle website dedicated to making moms' lives easier through recipes, lifestyle tips, parenting hacks. You probably have something from her saved on Pinterest. Her passion for encouraging moms through the years has led her to coaching women in building online businesses, hiring virtual assistants, and creating that work-life balance, which is what I am all about. So of course, I'm so excited she's here. And I have gotten to know her over the last year. I got to be on her podcast, Call Me CEO, which is a podcast sharing behind the scenes stories of mothers building businesses and raising families. I am going to make sure that I link to our episode in the show notes. It is her hope to encourage mothers everywhere to give themselves permission to create a life they love, embracing motherhood and their own passions. And that is something that I am so passionate as well. So let's jump right into this episode and let's get into how we balance the busy when everything does not feel amazing. Camille, thank you so much for being here. I just finished introducing everyone to you, telling them how amazing you are. So we are going to just jump right in.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, so excited. Okay, so we talked about this a little before we pressed record, but just talking about how it's one thing to balance the busyness when everything is going really well, when our time is working out really well and we can, get the workout in and we can do all the things in our business and we're just feeling positive and happy. It's I just imagine someone walking down the street and they're kind of got a pep in their step, right? And It is a very, very different thing when something goes wrong, when something interrupts our quote unquote perfect flow. Whether that be a health problem or something going on with one of our family members or whatever it might be. So today I really want to focus and talk about how we balance the busy and how we get back to that more positive pep in our step space when things aren't going perfectly.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I think the human existence is to go through all of the things, right? To have a human experience is to have the highs and the lows. And so I think as you're creating systems or the balance or knowing how to refuel yourself, that is essential to understand when things are going good, so that when things are going bad, whether it be, an emergency or with your kids or someone sick or you're ill or you're recovering from something, whether it's mental, emotional, or physical, those times will happen. So it's really important to establish the routines that you can rely on. And the way I like to look at it is having women at the well, people that you already have in your circle and in your support system, so that you feel like you have a group that you rally with when they're having low times and that also you can rely on.
I love that so much. I love that concept of women at the well, because I'm visualizing the stories and, just all of it. So I guess my first question would be, how do we identify our women at the well?
Yeah. Ooh. This is something that I have been trying to teach to my daughter, and not so much in that language, but she's 12 going into 7th grade this next year. And I think that there are And it's hard for me to explain this because I feel like some of us are more sensitive to the energies and emotions of other people. And we can know pretty soon whether or not that person is for us or against us. There's a viral video that was going out recently of Brene Brown, who is talking about flame blower outers. That's what she called them, like flame blower outers, where there are people in your life who are going to want to see you succeed, to glow, to be like a part of the show. And then there are others who will very specifically look for ways to blow out your flame and to bring you down. And I think that that's something that we learn as children. And sometimes, and often too much as adults, those signals can be ignored. And it's something that maybe as a child you were looking to be a people pleaser, or you were looking to, I think as women, we want to nurture, we want to be the person for everyone. We want to help other people, and that's good. But then we also have to recognize the boundaries of, is this person for me? Is this a person that is praying behind my back or talking behind my back? And I think that that's something that intuitively you've got to watch for, because those will be the women that you can understand, is this person for me, or do I need to create a safer space? And that takes work. I mean, I think it's something that we can all identify. But when you create those boundaries and find those amazing women, your success will soar, because they say that we are, the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And I think that that is with success, emotion, and all different aspects of our lives.
Oh, I agree. I was thinking that same thing. 2 things that came to my mind was we are the, 5 people that we surround ourselves with. And I was thinking about how we can't always fully control who all we're around. We can set up slightly better boundaries, but sometimes, someone might be saying, okay, but you don't know who I'm married to, or you don't know who my immediate family is. And one thing that I think we do need real people. We need real people who we can talk to for sure. And we need to figure out, how do I go find those people? But there is also a support system that can rally around you that is the information age. That is the fact that we can put incredible thought leaders, incredible minds in our ears, through our earbuds. Like, what is happening right now where someone is like, you know what? I need some inspiration. I need some motivation. And they popped in their AirPods or whatever they did, and they're listening to this. Those are also opportunities to think about who you're surrounding yourself with. I have my core people, and I definitely think about who those are, but then I have the core influencers, right? That I'm also surrounding myself with. And I'm thinking about, these people, do they make me better? Do they make me feel feelings of comparison, of unworthiness, of not being enough? Or do they actually challenge me and inspire me to believe in myself and be a better version of myself, right? So kind of thinking about the 5 people that we surround, it can also be what we consume, whether that's podcasts or books or YouTube, or getting into programs like coaching and masterminds and things like that are also going to help us elevate. So definitely thinking about who we are surrounding ourselves by. And, this concept of, I love what you said, are they praying behind my back or talking behind my back? And I thought of how once they show you who they are, believe them. Believe what they are conveying, and either set some boundaries or, offer more trust, because you get to believe them in a positive way. So there's that whole component. One of the things that I think about when things start to get hard, I usually let go of the things that are going to help me feel better first. Like, I'm extra busy. Oh, I'm going to let the workout slide. Oh, I'm not going to, I don't have time, so I'm not going to eat the foods that fuel me. I'm going to go to the foods that are going to give me a big crash. And so how do you help yourself when things are hard to set yourself up so that either A, you can make that period of time as short as possible, right? Like, we're not prolonging and extending this pain or this negative experience or just a hard thing because of choices that we're making. Well, let's just start there. So how do you help yourself with that?
Yeah. It's interesting because we're recording this. Let's see, it's mid-January. January 17th is the day that we're recording this. And so I often, not that I stick to a New Year's resolution and I get really hung up about being perfect in that, but I do like to identify and reevaluate every month. What season am I in? Who needs me more right now? Do I need to focus more on my business, on my family, on myself? And whether it's my family or my business, there's always going to be one that's pulling more than the other. But for sure, myself always needs that fuel. And so the 3 things that I've been focusing on that are so specific is making sure, and I don't know if you share video, but I've been starting to carry around my water bottle with me. So it's not so much a commitment of, I'm going to drink 40 ounces. There's yours. I'm going to drink 40 ounces of water a day or a whole gallon. My commitment is I'm going to have my water jug with me, because that means I will drink more. So I'm not saying that I have to have a certain amount. I'm just saying I'm going to physically make this commitment. And naturally, that habit of drinking more water will happen. Another one that I have done for myself and taking care of me is I'm going to go on a walk every day. I'm recovering from a surgery where typically in the past, I'm a very active person. I work out 3 to 6 times a week very regularly, and I'm still recovering from a surgery from nearly 5 months ago. And that's gotten me really down because that well of working out that made me feel so good has kind of depleted, where I've had to be like bedridden, and it's been really depressing. I kind of liken it to when you're pregnant and you get to the end of the pregnancy and you're like, I can't do the things I want to do. And it can wear on you and get really depressing. And so I thought to myself, well, I've done this before. I've had 4 babies. This is a place I've been before where I've been stuck in a position where I haven't been able to do what I want to do that I know is a really good win for me, being active and being outside. So I thought, okay, I can walk. So I'm going to start there. So for you listening, what is something that you can start with? And so for me, I'm going to get out for a walk every single day, or at least 6 days a week. And I joined a program called Step Bet, which it's this program where it is what it is. It is what it sounds like. You put money into a pot with a bunch of strangers. It's an app. And you say, I'm putting $40 in. And it challenges everyone to the same percentage of like what your regular steps are. And if you stick to that walking for 6 weeks, you get your money back plus whatever money is left from people who had to drop out early. And that's a challenge that I had done before when I was recovering from a pregnancy. And I thought, okay, I can't do Pilates. I can't do high fitness training right now, but I can walk. And so that's something for me that I'm like, okay, I'm drinking water and I'm walking. And I'm going to meditate at least 3 times a week. That's something that I'm trying to do more. Every day would be too big of a commitment for me, but I'm really trying to like create that mental vibe of like, where am I in my own headspace? Because no matter who we surround ourselves with, our own mind is where we live. And so to me, if you can invest time there, that will have ripple effects beyond everything. And so for me, my headspace that I really work on is now meditation as well as audio, like we were talking about with books and who do you surround yourself? What's inspiring your thoughts? And where's your headspace for a short time? And I go through pockets of time like this where I'm like, ooh, I love murder mysteries or like true crime podcasts. I love them. But if I listen to them too much, I find that my headspace and my thoughts and where I am mentally declines. And so I have to be careful. For me personally, maybe for you, that's not the case. You could listen to them all day long and you're fine. But for me, I really love to make at least a commitment of 15 minutes a day where I'm listening to something that inspires or motivates me. And so those are my commitments for my current season. I'm not going to say for the whole year, but those are my current commitments for my current season. And I think that that's really important.
I love that. So one of the big nuggets that I pulled from that is instead of looking at what we can't do, focus in on what you can do, right? Okay. You could be sitting there going, oh, I'm so frustrated because I can't go to my workout classes. I can't do my HIIT. I can't do my Pilates. I'm missing out on all of these things. And in that headspace, then we're probably going to spiral down and, just stay on the couch. But instead, okay, I can get out and walk, and I'm going to focus on that. So I feel like that idea of shifting from instead of what I can't do. And when we're in harder seasons, we get kind of stuck on what we can't do, getting to what we can, and understanding that can is going to look different. It's going to look probably a smaller version of our normal, but something is always, always better than nothing. And I loved how you were sharing that you've come up with, these 3 things that you're working on. I decided to shift things a little bit too. And I love just hearing different ways people are doing things. So instead of setting big, lofty goals, which is what I normally do, like there's 4 or 5 like really huge goals, I decided, okay, I'm going to put off the goal setting and I'm going to begin January with just habit tracking. I'm just going to work on doing some very simple daily habits that I would really like to work on, that I believe if I'm doing these things, I'm at a better version of myself. So this is all in episode 28. So we will make sure we link to it in the show notes, but I talk about my favorite apps for productivity in 2023. And one of them I talk about is this habit tracker. And so I put in all these different things that I just daily want to do. It's morning prayer, nighttime prayer, prayer with my family, scripture study, meditation, drinking my water, complimenting my husband every single day. Like I just have all these different things that I wanted to work on. Now, one of the things I decided to do is, because I put a lot of different things on there, was instead of beating myself up over the things that I was not doing every single day, I was going to just see what naturally came easy and what I seemed to keep not getting to. And then based on the things that I wasn't getting to, I was going to modify and find a different option for myself. So 2 of the things that have been on since January 1st, but I did not do regularly is work on learning the Spanish language and meditating. So I haven't adjusted Spanish yet. I just haven't even tackled that one yet. I'm going to have to really work through that one. But for the meditation, I decided to change it from, it was on my daily task every day. I modified it to 3 days, the 3 days that I have the least amount to do. So it's like Sunday morning and Mondays, which is more my that is my day to get things done. I don't typically have calls or anything like that. And then I think Wednesday or Friday. So now I'm going to try it again. I've created okay, I'm just trying to do 10 minutes. And, I simplified it for myself and brought it down so that I can try to work on this, because all of these different daily tasks and each of the things, that you talked about wanting to do, drinking your water, meditating, walking, they're all things that we understand. Like when I'm doing these things, I'm a better version of myself. So if we can get these things in place, then those big, lofty, audacious, incredible goals that we want to go after, we're going to be in that better headspace to get there. Now, that brings me to my next question, which is, all of us have experienced that when things are hard, it's really hard to motivate ourselves to do anything, even that smaller thing. So what do you think helps you to do those things even when you're not feeling it? How do you overcome that?
I think that there are some different solutions that have worked well for me depending on the day. And I also do allow myself as much as I can, because I'm a mother of 4, so we can't always just check out entirely. But I allow myself to have do nothing days. And I can work that into my work schedule, because I do have my own business, which is really nice. And I don't have babies napping and bottles and all the things, so my life is a little different.
We know there's different seasons.
Yes. So this is a little bit of a different season, but just last week, this is very much I had gone from the holidays. I was hosting sleepovers and birthday parties and, the gifts and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, I really just need to have a day. And I took a day and laid on the couch and watched a favorite show and snuggled with my dog. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like such a rebel. And then I looked back at that and thought, I was like, why not? I've been going and doing all the things every day with my kids at home, every day, working, business, all the things. It's okay to take time for you and to decide what that looks like. So other days for me, a good phone call with a friend, a walk and talk is what I call them. I will do this in person or on the phone. And I have specific people that I know. We either schedule it or we'll do impromptu. It depends on the week. But a walk and talk for me is essential, because I think a lot of times it's like therapy, working through your questions or your issues or your struggle that you're going through, and being able to say what you're feeling out loud to someone who you feel safe with is one of the best ways to sort through how you feel about the thing that you're experiencing or recovering from. And so I grew up as a journal writer, and I still love to journal, but I've become a little more guarded in what I write as an adult, unfortunately, because I think, what are my kids going to read? Or this will be whatever.
I know. You're like, somebody burn all the journals when I am gone, please.
Right? Because it's not about like my boyfriend, Bobby. It's now about my kids and my husband and like permanent people in my life that like you have to be a little more guarded with. So that's why I think writing is beautiful and wonderful, and you can write it and erase it. You can write it and burn it if you need to, or you can write it and just know these are your personal thoughts and you have every right to feel the way you feel. But I think as an adult, for me, talking out loud and sorting through it and having someone ask me questions is one of the best ways for me to sort through a hard time. So I think, like we know, eating well, getting good rest is one of the best recoveries. Working out, moving your body. If you're not feeling the motivation to do the things, what I like to do is take inventory of a joy list of what I know will bring me that joy and that recovery and that headspace of being able to move forward with hope, versus the days where I sit around and say, okay, I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to eat junk food. I'm going to do all these fun things. I'm going to go to a movie by myself. I'm going to order my favorite food, whatever that thing is that feels luxurious and rebellious to you. And then evaluate how you feel and say, okay, that was fun. That was different. But now I need to do something. And I think that you can notice the difference of like when you get moving, how much better you feel.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, sometimes we really do need that moment to just rest. And I think you really nailed it, where you're like, it felt rebellious. Okay. If we're in a season where we're like, I'm spending way too much time resting and my Netflix game is way too strong right now. Okay. You know what's actually going to probably make you feel better? Getting up and moving. But if on the flip side, you've been in go, 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 go mode so long, so hard, and you're starting to feel those signs of burnout, of overwhelm, giving yourself permission. And I will be the first to admit that it feels really uncomfortable for me when I decide to do nothing. I've gotten much, much better at it over the years. Definitely like a decade ago. I mean, it actually felt like I was crawling out of my skin trying to do nothing. I felt so uncomfortable not being productive. And that in itself, I recognize like, okay, there is a problem here. I don't think that's what we're supposed to be doing. So I really worked on it. I made myself sit in the discomfort, and I really did actually feel like genuinely uncomfortable and anxious and like yucky trying to just do nothing. But over time, I did get more comfortable, and I learned to love it and like, appreciate it. And now have those like rebellious, days where you're like, I am just going to do nothing. But seeing those differences of when we need what, and then speaking to, having that person that you talk to. That, I agree, that is so powerful, as long as we are so careful about who they are and how they show up for us. We've all had, right? Because we've all had that person who's like, they hear the drama, they jump onto the drama, and they're like, yeah, you are right. You have been so wronged. They're the worst. We need someone who can honestly be able to also, say, or more so say, are you sure you're looking at that right? Because I actually think you maybe need a nap and a chocolate, and you're going to, see this in another light. I think about, for me, my sister is my person, right? Like that is who I call, and I'm like, oh, I got to talk through. And I'll share a real story. So a couple weeks ago, I called her and I was like, I am so frustrated, right? And I'm like laying it all out there. And then she was like, me too. I've been frustrated about the same thing. So we're both together like, oh, aren't they the worst? And then we both like, by the end of the call, we were both like, yeah, but they're really not, huh? No, they're not. They're actually like pretty great. And like, we're probably being a little bit of brats here with like these, like, it was really, really powerful. And both of us at the end was like, I feel so much better. I feel a lot better about them too. This is exactly what I need. So in, you know, what we talked about at the very beginning, the 5 people that you're surrounding yourself with, making sure that we have people who they're not drama feeders. They're peacemakers, and they're looking to see the best in us, but also see the best in the people that we love, right? Like you might have a moment where you're frustrated, but like long term, you're going to get over it and move on. And you need people who can help you see that and help you rise above, not sit in the frustrated feelings or the anger or the sadness or the, you know, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, that goes back to that very first part when we were talking about how do you identify those people of who you can be safe with, but then also who can give it to you real, where they know. And I love it when you're talking to someone and you're like, and you know, I love them, but I just got to get this out because of this. Say you're talking about a kid or a husband or a mother or father or whoever. And they know. They're like, yes, I know. You don't have to like give me that. I know you do. You just need to process this. So get it out and then we'll work past it and then you feel better, you know? So I think that what does get really dangerous is when people hold in so much anger, resentment, hurt, and they don't find a way to be honest with themselves and a partner, friend, family member, whatever. And that's what really leaves lasting damage, I think. So if you can get to a place where you can sort through it on your own and have a trusted friend or family member, and then after that, if there are still things that need to be said, say the thing. Because too often I feel like relationships are damaged because we're just holding it all in instead of being honest with feelings and letting people be true in themselves without letting ego get in the way. And that, I mean, this is going down a whole other line of thinking, but you know, so much of the people that we love and who really care about us want to hear us and to let us be heard. So if that's something where you're like, gosh, I'm in a bad place, then make sure you have people around you that you can really be vulnerable with, because that's where you can heal.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So someone who is like, you know, I'm just in a bit of a funk and I used to be doing really great on a lot of things and I'm not feeling it right now. What is your top, like, hey, just start here? What would you say to them?
Well, the first thing I would say is to have self-compassion. You know, there's so much, I think that we're in a culture where, especially as women, we look at ourselves as the doers. We have to be able to do all the things and everyone needs something. And you look at history of all time with people and women, we usually, back to the women at the well, we have communities of people who used to be part of our everyday lives, who would help pick up the slack if we needed help with kid care or nursing babies or preparing meals or, you know, getting the work done that needs to be done in the fields or whatever it is. That can become so lazy or so lonely now if we are creating an island of ourselves and thinking, I have to do this all on my own. Because if you start feeling that way, I have to do this all on my own. No one can help me. I can't open myself up. That can become really dangerous and really depressing and lonely. And that's not a place where productivity or our best selves will come through. So the very first thing I would say is self-compassion. Number one, that if you're feeling like you can't do the things, ask for help. And I relay this to women in their families. I've coached people on how to do this in their families with their kids, how to help them with like becoming part of meal prep, house cleaning, you know, communication. This can be in your workplace where there's a lot of people who are trying to wear all the hats. And I'm like, hey, let's work through what part of this is something you may be really good at, but you hate doing. And it's loathing, like it's pulling you down into the depths. And maybe you're in a place where you have to wear all the hats and you need to take a break just for you. But I think an evaluation of, first of all, if you were looking at yourself from the outside, would you be giving yourself as hard of a time as you are talking to yourself? Would you talk to a best friend this way if she was going through whatever this hard time is? So first, self-compassion, breaking down what it is that you're doing that maybe you could offload in different areas of your life, communication with your partner, your children, your business. And then from there, looking for those pockets of joy where you can refuel by doing things that all those things we list about, those habit trackers, those small things. What are 3 things you could integrate today that would be simple? Water, walking, prayer, meditation, And so I think that so often we get stuck thinking we have to do it all when really we just have to get that next best thing. What's that next best thing where you could help to relieve that weight?
Oh, I love that so much. I agree with all of those suggestions of like that self-compassion, starting small, looking for the community to help you. I think of almost this idea of like rally the troops, or it takes a village. And it's not just a village for our children. It's a village for us too. And looking for all those ways that instead of feeling this resentment or these feelings of like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it all, let others help you. And it's going to be a little messy, a little ugly at first as you train. Yeah. Certainly me teaching and training my kids to, start cooking the dinners and taking over a portion of that. It was a lot of me doing a lot as I was helping them through, but I stuck with it and it became wonderful. If you're hiring someone, there's a period of time where you're training them and it's a little more awkward and uncomfortable, but then once they can help you, then you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I love all of that. And the last thing that I would add, and I'm sure you do this too, is like looking for fun. Like, so you've said a couple times, and it keeps making me think of like creating a bucket list of sorts. I can't think of another word for it, but essentially like a bucket list of just very small, fun things. One day when you're feeling really, really great, making this list of like, go to a movie by myself, go to lunch by myself, go get a massage, make some popcorn and binge 3 episodes of some show that really makes you laugh. Or, right, like just this, get a pedicure, get a manicure. I don't care. Like just this huge list of like fun things. Sometimes one of the big things is we just need to infuse some good old fashioned laughter, smiles, fun, right? So whether that's like a great lunch with girlfriends, but not one where like sometimes we need the one where we're going to vent for sure. We all need that. Yeah. But sometimes we really need the one where we are going to belly laugh and just like have a great time. So I think that's the other thing is like when it is rough, when we are feeling that funk, like seek out, you kept saying joy. And I was like, yes, seek out joy, seek out laughter, seek out reasons to smile. And, there's so much power in that too. So, this has been so good. Okay, Camille, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, so I am online at camillewalker.co. That is my website, as well as my handle on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. On Facebook, I'm actually My Mommy Style. So I still have my podcast, which is Call Me CEO. I interview mothers building businesses and how they balance the busy there. And then also my website, mymommystyle.com, has a million recipes for busy moms, travel tips, parenting, all the things. And I love helping women figure out the best balance for them.
I love it. And I got to be on your podcast, Call Me CEO. So we will make sure we link to that episode. Plus, of course, we'll put all of your links in the show notes, but I'll have links to all of that so they can find your amazing podcast and, they can start with that episode where I got to be on there with you. This is amazing. Thank you so much for joining me today and just being another voice that's like honest and like, hey, we're all trying to figure this out. Mommies trying to build these businesses, build these dreams, but in a way that does not compete with our home, our health, or our happiness, right? Finding truly the way to balance the busy. So you're amazing at it. I'm so grateful that you were on today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun.
Isn't Camille great? You can just feel her warmth and kindness it just exudes out of her. And I think my favorite nugget, my favorite thing that I'm going to be thinking about for a while is those women at the well and that community. And really for me, I'm thinking about how do I be a better woman at the well for others? Like, how do I show up better for my family, my friends, my community? So that's what I'm really going to be focusing on, and giving myself a little more permission to be rebellious and have those days where I just do nothing. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's it for this episode. If you could, would you take a moment and leave a 5-star review with just one sentence saying why you think others would love this podcast or why you love the Balancing Busy podcast? That would mean the world. It would be so incredible. And you'll help me build this community and bring more women to our well. So thank you again for being part of this podcast, Balancing Busy podcast, where we are here to help you do less but better so that you can live a life that truly lights you up. All right, I'll see you next time.